Hi, everybody. Thank you, Subhashini, for having me. And thank you all for sacrificing your Sunday with your families and coming here. Okay, so how many of you have made macarons before? Eggless? How many of you have made? Egg? Egg or eggless? Egg, okay. Any problems you all face? Any issues? Okay. No feet, okay, okay. Okay, so yeah, I know macarons are very, very finicky little things to bake. So usually, for those of you who don't know, macarons are made out of egg whites. Okay, so it's nothing but egg whites, almonds, powdered almonds, and sugar. So these are the three main components of a like a typical macaron. Originally, it's made fully out of egg whites. Now, there are different methods to make macarons. There is Swiss, there is Italian, there's French, and all of that. So now we are trying to mimic the protein in the egg whites without eggs. Okay. So again, there are 3-4 methods people use to make eggless macarons. One, you would have heard about aquafaba, which is a chickpea water. Okay. Now that is a little finicky most of the times because a homemade aquafaba consistency is not consistent. Okay. Sometimes we make it thin, sometimes we make it thick. Now, the best thing for that to do is to use tinned aquafaba, which is again not very easily available. It's available in Amazon, but most of the times it's not in stock and all that. But if you want to try macarons with aquafaba, you can buy the tinned chickpea. Okay, you get tinned chickpea, Urban Platter, all of that has on Amazon. So you can buy that chickpea water, drain out fully the water, reduce it to half. So suppose if you get 1 cup of water, you boil it and make it half a cup so that you get a nice thick aquafaba consistency. So basically what happens is chickpea has certain amount of protein, right? So the protein in the chickpea is transferred to the water because it's soaked for such a long time. Okay, so that when you reduce it, it becomes like a sticky substance, and when you whip up, that mimics egg whites. Okay, so you can use any egg-based macaron recipe, replace the egg whites with this aquafaba, and you can make. But I found that to be very not consistent. Sometimes it comes, sometimes it doesn't come properly. So I like to use, there's a second method which uses potato protein. Okay, I don't know if all of you have heard. There is something called potato protein. Again, that's very, very expensive. You get a box of potato protein, which is available only in one distributor in the whole of India. And that's for 4,000, 4,500. And we don't make so many macarons, you know. So even when I get orders, 80% it's only egg. People don't mind. But for 20%, those who want eggless, it's very limited quantity. So for me to buy, even for me to buy like a 4,000, 4,500, it doesn't make sense. I don't know when I'm going to exhaust that. So what I like to use I like to use whey protein. All of you would have heard of whey protein, right? Whey protein is bodybuilders and not now, so everybody is taking whey. Those who go to the gym and they all like to consume extra protein. So you can use any brand of whey as long as it is unflavored. Okay, because sometimes you get chocolate flavor and in that there's already sugar added and all of that. So you can just buy unflavored whey protein. But I prefer this brand. This brand is available again in Amazon, and in Chennai it's available in Passionate Baking. Okay, they have this. Vivek also sometimes has, sometimes doesn't have, but Passionate Baking has a consistent supply of this, and it's available on Amazon. So why I like this is it's a small box. Okay, so you will get about 10 batches, 10, 12 batches of macarons is this. And this is about 590, say 550 rupees. Okay. Sometimes Amazon will have discount and all that. So it's 550. So 550, I feel is still okay to invest to, you know, experiment and to kind of make batches. Okay. Even though it is expensive, for about 75 grams is 550, but it's better than investing 4,500 rupees than this, right? Sorry? You can use, see, this is 80% concentrate of whey, okay, whey protein. So any brand which is unflavored and has a 80% protein concentrate can be used. I just like this because it's just I like to stick to one brand so that there's no discrepancy. Okay, so this is what I like to use. Otherwise, you can use any whey protein brand as long as it, now you look online, there are so many. But again, the problem with those brands is they don't come in small boxes. They'll usually come in 1 kilo because they're all for people who consume protein powders and all of that, right? So they come in 1 kilo, 2 kilo, 5 kilo packs. Okay, so that's why I like this, because you just have to pay 400 rupees and get this bottle. Okay, the other ingredients are quite simple. We've got almond flour and icing sugar. They have already sieved the almond flour and icing sugar and they've pulsed it in the mixie. Okay, just 2-3 pulses so that it mixes. And usually when you buy almond flour, it's a little coarse. So you don't want the macarons to be coarse, right? You want them to be smooth. So that's why we've pulsed it in the mixie just for 2-3 times. And then castor sugar. Okay, so unfortunately, don't replace anything in this recipe. When I say icing sugar, please use store-bought icing sugar. Don't try to do it at home, and use castor sugar itself and use whey protein. Now, the fourth ingredient is just some very cold water. Now, that's very, very important. The colder your water is, the quicker your meringue will whip up. Okay, so please make a note of that. Water, ma. Water, cold water. Yeah? No, just any brand is fine. As long as you sieve it properly at home. You can even use homemade this thing, almond powder. No problem. Okay, so she's made the, I just asked them to put the water in the fridge and keep it. Priya, you need to measure this for me, 6 grams. It'll be about 1.5 teaspoons approximately. Okay, so while she's measuring that, any other questions you have? Now, macarons, for those of you who made it, like you said, you have a lot of problems. Now, somebody said their macarons cracked on top. Okay, that could be because your oven is too hot. Okay, so even in this recipe, I have given 120. So if you notice, it's very low temperature. So for macarons alone, the lower you bake, the better, because they are very, they're very delicate. Okay, so when you put any batter in the oven, whether it's cookies or cakes or any batter you put in the oven, what happens, science is the heat goes inside the batter. And when heat goes, it has to come out somewhere. So it usually heat rises from top. So that's why the cake also rises, but you have cracks in the cake, you have cookies, you have little cracks and all of that. So that's how the heat escapes. Now for macarons, you don't want that. So if your macarons are cracking, that means there's too much air going into your macarons. Number one. Number two is your macarons are not dry. So we are going to dry this macaron, you don't have to dry it too much because you're baking it at a very low oven, low temperature. Okay. But generally macarons, you have to, after you pipe it, you have to let it dry for about maybe 30 to 40 minutes. And if it's raining or if it's too much moisture outside, which usually is in Chennai, it might take a longer time also. But for this 120 degrees, you don't need to dry too much because it's very less amount of heat we are giving it. When you say feet is not come, again, that means your oven temperature is too high or your macarons are not dry. Okay, lopsided, don't use, you said lopsided, right? Don't use fan in the oven. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I have my whey protein and my cold water. If you notice, I'm putting it into the small bowl, not into the big bowl, because it's very less substance. So I don't want the substance to be moving too much. Then for me, it will take a longer time to whip up. Okay, so the smaller the constricted, the more constricted the periphery, easier for stuff to whip up. Also, I recommend you using cream of tartar. Okay, if you don't have, no problem. This, what it does is it just helps you whip up the meringue a little faster. I've not mentioned it in your recipes, but just write just a pinch of cream of tartar always helps. Now, ideally, what I would do is I would put the cold water and the whey protein in this and put it again in the fridge for about 5 minutes, because I want the whey protein to soak into the water and absorb the water, but I don't want the water temperature to come down. Okay, now since we don't have time here, I'm just going to start whipping it. So I'm starting off with low. Once it becomes frothy, I'm going to increase the speed. Now, don't be in a hurry with this step. This will take, see, this is a very good, strong beater, if you've noticed. But sometimes at home, our beaters are not so powerful, so it will take more time. Okay. If you have a KitchenAid or a stand mixer, please put this into the stand mixer. It will save a lot of time. That's all. Otherwise, the result will be the same. So I'm just putting 1 pinch of cream of tartar. This will just help it quicken the process. That's all. Now, once it starts becoming white, okay, it was transparent. Now it's become almost white. I'm going to start adding the castor sugar very little by little. Again, this is a very important step. I'm just going to add 1 teaspoon at a time. Mix it, take my time about, say, a minute, mix it, and then add the next one till everything is finished. So this will take some time. So once half the sugar is gone, we'll just take a spatula and clean up the sides so that everything is into. And if you've seen already, our meringue is starting to stiff up nicely. starting to stiff up nicely, but we still need soft peaks. So I'm just going to clean the bowl. Now you can double this recipe also if you want more macarons. But I suggest when you are starting off, just try this. Then you double, triple, whatever you want. Sorry. This will give you, I think, about 12. This is a very important step. Don't miss this. Sometimes we feel lazy, especially if you're doing it with a hand beater. If you're doing it with a stand mixer, then it's okay. You can, relax. But when you're doing it with a hand beater, sometimes you feel, okay, this is enough. But this is very important for you to get at least soft peaks. Stiff peaks is ideal, but if you get soft peaks, is enough. Okay, this is almost there. You can see our soft peaks, but I'm just going to, do for another few seconds more. Color. Okay, can you see? Its peaks are there, but they're falling, so that's fine. Now, coloring. When you're doing it for the first few times, don't add too much color because, again, this is moisture, liquid. So the more moisture you add, the more difficult it's going to be. So I would suggest first time bake without color, okay, so that you have lesser confusion to deal with. But we're just going to add a few drops. Yes, you can use powder color. Powder color is going to be a little more difficult for it to mix in. So gel color is better. Now, once you add the color, you again have to get back the meringue to your soft peaks. So whatever color you're adding is going to become 1 or 2 shades lighter because you're going to add your almond flour. So I'm just going to add a little more so that we have a nice pink. Okay. Now it's another very, very important step. I know for everything I'm saying very important, but it's important. So this is a step where you mix in your almond flour and icing sugar into your meringue. Okay. This step is called macaronage. It's very important because you should know the correct consistency till where you should mix. If you overmix, your batter will become too runny and then you won't get macarons. Okay. So when you're in a doubt, it's always better to undermix than overmix. Okay. If you have a doubt, should I stop? Stop. Okay. Don't do overmix it. I'm also baking in my silicone mat. Don't use those brown mats. If you would have seen brown mats come with grooves, don't use that because they're too thick for the eggless macaron. So either use a parchment paper. Parchment paper, I found that Don't use butter paper, use parchment or baking paper. But I found that in silicone mat, the round shape comes out perfectly. Okay. So, and this is available in Amazon. Set of 2 will be, I think, around 500, 600. That's all, not too much. And if your oven is not so big, you can even cut it and fit your tray. Okay. So, so have all this ready before you start mixing. So I'm having my macaron mat and tray and my piping bag with a round nozzle. Okay, I've just twisted it because I don't want the batter to flow out. So everything is ready. So now I'm going to put these almond flour and icing sugar in 3 batches so that I can mix it properly. So you want to be gentle with this because you don't want to deflate the meringue too much. Okay, very, very gently and slowly get the almond flour and the icing sugar into the meringue. Once the first batch has disappeared, put the second one. And if you see, I'm touching the meringue very, very gently. I'm only going on the sides of the bowl. And I'm cutting in to make sure that the almond flour is mixed. And then we'll add our final batch. Now, once your final batch of your almond flour and icing sugar disappears, that's when you want to stop. Don't waste anything. Okay, this is the consistency. If you shake the bowl a little bit, it's going to move around very, very slowly. Okay, and I'll just put it here. If you all see, it will fall also very slowly in like ribbons. Okay, this is the consistency you want. Now, how you pipe the macarons is also important. Those of you who know piping in cakes and all, we usually keep the piping bag at a 45-degree angle or a 60-degree angle, okay? But for macarons, you want to keep it at a 90-degree angle and then pipe. So I'm going to just pipe till my macaron touches the inner circle because these spread a little bit, okay? So I'll start from the center, hold it straight, and when it touches the side, I'm going to take off. So I'm not moving my piping bag until the batter reaches the inner circle. That's what will give you perfect rounds. If you're doing this in a parchment paper, you can draw out circles using a cookie cutter. So because my macaron size is a little small, I think I might get 15 macarons also. This tray, you'll get 30 individual shells. And when you join it, you'll get 15. Don't waste anything. Now we're going to just tap this very, very gently, just to release any air bubbles. Okay, and this will bake. Now I'm going to preheat the oven to 120. It will take about 15 minutes to preheat, right? So in that 15 minutes, you're going to let it rest. Now there's another trick to dry your macarons. What I like to do is, especially in Chennai, because it's so moist, I like to preheat my oven to 100, okay? Keep the macarons inside for 5 minutes. 5 minutes, I mean, you have to set a timer in your watch, okay? In your phone. 5 minutes at 100. And then increase the temperature to 120 and bake for 15 minutes. Continuous. So instead of drying it out for 15-20 minutes, you're drying it in the oven for 5 minutes. Okay, any questions? 100. Sorry? Yeah, so instead of drying it out for 20 minutes, I've written as dry it out for 20 minutes. This was before I found out this trick. So you can dry it in your oven at 100 degrees. Okay, keep it at 100 degrees. You can even keep your door open. This oven, you can't keep the door open, but in your OTGs, you can keep your door slightly open. So preheat for 200. Also, one more very important step is try to get an oven thermometer, because most of our ovens, there's a difference, okay? So go by the oven. When you keep it at 100, your oven thermometer should read 100. So when the temperature comes to 100 in your oven thermometer, keep your tray inside, keep the door slightly open, set the timer for 5 minutes in your watch or in your phone. As soon as it rings 5 minutes, close the door, increase it to 120 and bake for 15 to 20 minutes. You can put it inside. Yeah. 5 minutes time set. We kept it too high last time. Just keep it in the middle rack. Okay. Okay. What was I going to say? Yes. Now the fillings. Okay. Now once your macarons are baked, let it cool down completely. You know your macarons are baked perfectly. Again, there should not be any cracks. There should be feet. There should not be lopsided. It should be proper, nice and smooth. And it should, when you peel it, it should come off the mat easily. So if it's not coming off, that means it's underbaked. You can put it back again for 5 minutes. Put it in the lower section of your thing, so that means your bottom has not baked. Okay, so you can bake it for 5 minutes. The problem with macarons is when it's hot, it will not peel. You have to let it cool completely. Only then you will know that whether it's peeled or not. Okay, so once it's cool, you try to peel. If it doesn't, then you can put it back again for 5 minutes. Okay, now fillings. So once it cools down, you can immediately start filling your whatever fillings you want. I have given, I think, about 3 or 4 recipes for fillings. So this is just for extra, information. Yeah. No, I like to use the blanched almond powder. Yeah. No, this is a specific recipe for whey protein, which there are no replacements for. Like I was explaining, you can try it with aquafaba. Aquafaba, you can try any egg macaron recipe, and reduced aquafaba you can use in place of egg whites. Baking time after frying. That's what, 20 minutes, 15 to 20 minutes, depending on the size of your macarons. If it's small, it will bake in 15 minutes. If it's big, it will take 20 minutes to bake. But the oven is preheated before setting it at 100 for frying. Yes, that's what I just explained. Keep an oven thermometer. When it comes to 100, you have to preheat your oven to 100. When it comes to 100, put the tray inside for 5 minutes and then increase the temperature to 120 and bake. Both rods, yes, both rods, middle rack, correct. We can't store this mixed batter. You can't store the mixed batter. You can pipe and store the tray. No, outside. So suppose you don't have such a big oven. You are piping it in 2 trays. Okay, so you pipe 1 tray, bake it immediately. Second tray, you can keep it out. Once that comes out, you can put this inside. The first phase is baking. Yeah. The second phase is drying. Yeah. So for the second tray, you don't need to dry it in the oven. Second tray, I don't know. Time is taking longer. I always taking string. Maybe your temperature is too hot. You're not letting the oven come down to normal to your 120 or whatever temperature you're baking. So every tray you put, you have to, if the oven is too hot, it's become too hot while baking, then you have to let it come down to 10. That's why I'm saying the oven thermometer is important. But that was the problem. Like, the time was not the problem. Time was not the problem. The temperature will only be the problem. Okay, so you can choose any fillings, and you can, once the macaron peels off your tray, that means it's completely cool and dry and it's ready to fill. Okay, now mostly eggless macarons, most of the time they are a little hollow in the center. Okay, that's because again the protein in the whey protein or aquafaba, whatever you're using, is not as good as your egg whites. Okay, so for that, you always, macarons, you always say you need to let it mature for 24 hours. Okay, so supposing you're going to consume it tomorrow or your delivery is tomorrow, you fill it tonight with your fillings and keep it in the fridge. So what happens is the fillings will get absorbed, little bit, the flavor will get absorbed into the shell and the hollowness will reduce. Okay, so that's one trick. So don't serve macarons immediately the same day. Okay, and they always taste better. It's like biryani, they taste better the next day. Okay, any questions regarding the fillings? So we've just have some, I think, dark chocolate ganache. I've baked a few macarons in the morning here because we were testing the ovens. And so that's one thing I want to think, though I've made these macarons for like so many times, each oven is different. Okay, so I'm not going to guarantee that your first batch is going to come out perfectly because you need to get to know your oven. So what I suggest is take parchment paper first, okay, and take 2-3 sections of parchment paper and pipe little in all 4 and keep, okay, so that you can test your oven. If it comes out, you know, at this temperature, no, some ovens overheat. So then you have to reduce the temperature. You can't bake at 120. You have to bake at 100, okay? So that's why I said the oven thermometer is very important. Some ovens underheat. If you keep 120, it will not be 120. So that time what will happen, your macarons will shrink up in the top. Okay, so all that will happen. So you'll take about 3-4 trials to understand your oven. So that's what we did in the morning also. One burnt, one it came lopsided. So all that happened. I was here in the morning and we were testing in the 3 hours. So finally in that oven, it was quite okay, but still not 100% what it comes in my ovens. So anyway, so what I'm trying to say is do 2-3 times. So if you buy one bottle, it will come for 10, 12 batches you will get in that bottle. So try little, and then you'll be able to master your macarons. Yeah, so without filling, this can be kept in the fridge for about a month. Nothing will happen. It can be kept in the freezer for longer also. After you fill, depends on the kind of filling. If you're just using ganache, nothing will happen. It won't get spoiled. Ganache, buttercream, anything. But if you're using like lemon curd or fruit fillings, it will have a shorter shelf life. Yeah. Airtight is important because you don't want the moisture from the fridge to fall into the macarons. It'll become sticky. Okay, so we'll wait and hopefully they'll come out properly and then we'll fill and then I'll show you. Thank you very much. And if there's any questions, you can ask us. Or when you're making, if you have any questions, you can connect with me on Instagram and send me a DM. And as soon as I see it, I'll try to answer your questions. Okay, thank you. Thanks a lot. So these are the test macarons we made in the morning. They're not perfect because we were just trying to test out the ovens. But this is what I wanted to show you all even in the live. This is what happens if you bake in a parchment paper. If you see, it's changed shape. Okay, though I baked it nice and round. I don't know why. I think because the parchment paper is light. So when the oven heat goes, it kind of shakes, or I don't know what happens. So this is what happens. The shape is totally become oval, which is still fine. It's not like nothing is absolutely wrong, but I'm just trying to tell you. Whereas when you see the macarons, when you've piped here, they are whatever I've piped, it's just there. Okay, so also is important how you fill it, because at the end of the day, see whether your macarons have feet, don't have feet, they're cracked or whatever, they still taste very nice. Okay, nothing will happen because it's just egg whites or it's whey protein and sugar and almonds. So almonds and sugar, egg whites though don't have any taste, almond and sugar is what will have the taste. So it's definitely going to taste nice, but at the end of the day, we're trying to make them look pretty and like macarons. Okay, so First of all, try to get like a match size, and then just put a small, you don't want to overfill your macarons, and just in the center, okay, so much. Don't do till the edge. So keep it in the center and just twist, gently twist, like how you would untwist a cookie, right? Okay, so just twist it, and then we'll have, this is what we have. So you can let this, put this in the fridge for the ganache to set nicely, and you can have it. Now you can also do double fillings in your macarons. Okay, if you want to give, like, say, a caramel and chocolate filling. Okay, so what I like to do is I'll take ganache and a small ring, again, not in the edge, but in the center of your macaron like this. And then I'll fill it with the soft filling. So you can do raspberry compote, you can do caramel, you can do anything, any soft filling you want. Even you can do like rasmalai, a piece of rasmalai, buttercream outside also tastes very nice. Suppose Diwali or something you want to do. And you can, once you pipe your macarons, like suppose you want to make rasmalai macarons, make yellow macarons, put one piece of saffron on it before you bake it, when it's just before you bake it. And you can also put powdered pista on top and bake it. Okay, so this is what, since we don't have any soft filling, just to show you guys. So this will be, if you want to do double filling, so the inside will be the soft and the outside will be your ganache or your buttercream, and then you can just fill it like that. So this will give you a very nice double tone filling effect. Okay, so this is how you fill. So bakes, hopefully I'll fill and you guys taste. Okay, thank you. This I baked in the morning to test. Okay, but I realized my mistake that I kept the tray too high. So it was, I think, close to the heat. So because of the overheating, it's become little crinkled and slight cracks. Still okay, feet have come, it's smooth and everything, but slight. So I just said, okay, this oven, maybe let's try one step lower. So that's what we did here. And you can see it's just come like perfectly. Okay, so that's why I'm trying to say, you just 2-3 times it will take for you to get to know the oven. But for you, the important thing is to keep in mind the steps which I've told. And the most important is the folding. When you're folding the almond flour, just make sure you don't overfold it. Because the more you fold, you just have to understand the signs that you're deflating the batter. So the more it deflates, the more watery it's going to become. Okay, so as long as you don't deflate, you're going to get, you just need to understand your oven. Once or twice it will take for you to understand. So this ganache has become thick. Again, I'm just going to pipe this. So again, just so much is enough to pipe. Don't overfill your macarons, because like I said, you want your macarons to look neat. You don't want them just flowing out with the filling. And then just take this and twist it slightly. Okay, and then you have your macaron like this. So I'm just going to fill all of these and keep it. So then once I take pictures, I think you guys can taste one more. The ganache or whatever filling you're doing should be piping consistency. Make sure it's not too thick, nor it's watery, and very gently just press it like this. As I said, macarons, again, I'm repeating, if they are hollow, they will develop in 24 hours. Once you fill this like this and keep it in the fridge, the hollowness will reduce to a great extent. Okay, so that keep in mind also that. So off camera, I'll just fill this and then probably they'll share pictures. Yes, yeah. So flavoring, I never recommend to flavor the shell, because as it is, you have to keep so many points in mind. Otherwise, we don't want one more point. Okay. And so any flavoring, whatever variation you want to give in the filling. Like I said, it's like an ocean. You can give how much ever, whatever. There's no limit to the imagination in types of the filling assortments you can give. And number two, an advantage of not flavoring the shell is you can do multiple fillings. Now, suppose I've already flavored the shell, then it restricts my fillings. But see, you've got about 15, so you can do like an assorted box of flavoring, even though it's the same color. Okay, so that's why I don't I don't flavor the shells. Yeah.
Will the eggless compound batter consistency be the same as that of the batter made with egg?
So egg batter is slightly more heavier, more denser. The eggless, because the meringue itself, when you're whipping up the eggless meringue, you will see that it's more lighter and more delicate. So that's why the folding, if you've made egg macaron and when you're making eggless, you will see that the egg macaron, you need much more number of times of folding to get the consistency of the batter which you want. But in the eggless one, it's more delicate. So in 2-3 rounds itself, you will see that the batter is starting to deflate. So you have to be more careful that you don't overmix it.